Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to a fun comparison with our guest host, Juan Carlos Bagnell. And we are here today because I have been a big proponent of wireless charging. I've loved it for a long time, really think it's useful. And Juan thinks I am completely wrong.
I do!
That being said, we made another video on Juan's channel to talk about all the great points, the amazing key points that I gave for wireless charging, and today we're gonna hear on all the good points for wired charging. And while it's, you know, okay, but not as good as wireless, so we're gonna hear all of Juan's points. Not biased at all.
Let's be fair. This is scientifically rigorous. We're both very biased on opposite sides of this fence.
Yes, and we all have biases. I've always said that, like, look, you have a bias. Your experience is going to give you a bias in tech. Why should I use wired charging, Juan? Please let me know.
Yeah, so we set up an experiment. We talked about this on the video on my channel. We actually set this experiment up twice, where we started with, you had the S23 Ultra and I had the OnePlus 11. And, well, the new hotnesses are out, though. So you went to the S24. New hotness. S24 Ultra versus the OnePlus 12. And this kind of helps reinforce my feelings that we're selling wireless charging as a convenience. But really, I think we're facilitating a kind of battery anxiety that, especially Apple, I have to give Samsung credit in what we can talk about year over year. There are bigger improvements than I was expecting, going from the 23 to the 24. But along the same time, what we've seen from the more sort of Pacific region Asian manufacturers has been just an explosion in some of the most exciting battery management technologies that help facilitate usage away from a charger and less management from the user's perspective. And for me, fast charging fundamentally changes your relationship with your phone, where you're not constantly thinking about putting it on a pad or buying the accessories or all the different pads and coils, having multiple different kind of staged chargers around your home or in your car. You only plug it in when you absolutely need to.
Yeah.
I actually do have to admit that my preference for wired charging has been reinforced.
You said it.
I know, it's like the great Freudian slip there. No, but my preference for wired charging has been reinforced because it still got better. If you're running a more current phone with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or an 8 Gen 3, it is incredibly difficult to kill these phones.
Yeah, we found that out firsthand.
In trying to drain these phones, we're doing silly things like you were running the max screen brightness video overnight. Is that what you were doing?
And it didn't kill it. Like back in the day, we were talking about, like, you know, with the Snapdragon 888s and all those back in the day, like,
yeah,
you could kill a phone easily just leaving YouTube. Like it would die.
Sure.
Like no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I woke up and it was still at 13%, and I'm like, how are you still alive? So I had to run a game just to get it out, and it was a high-end game. It was just ridiculous. So yeah.
So I started tracking at around 85% on the OnePlus 12, and then I thought, I'm just going to use my phone as a good basic communicator. Yeah. I do tons of music listening, lots of screen off time, but lots of podcasts and music and stuff like that. And it took 2.5 days to get the phone to finally shut off. This is kind of one of the data points that helps contribute to my feeling, though, that I shouldn't be looking for coils and topping off all the time. I should only plug in when I absolutely need to. So I ran the phone down until it could not boot. You know, you push the power button, you get that little red icon, it's not firing up. I plugged the phone in, and it took from completely empty, not able to boot, to 100%, almost exactly 34 minutes.
Wow, that's how fast the new one is? Okay, 34 minutes.
And you get to that 75% charge the fastest. And at 75% charge, that's about 2 days of me doing pretty moderate communicator style smartphoning. Like, I can see my phone at 40% and I can leave the house. And I'm not afraid that I'm like, oh no, I might not have enough battery to last the day. No, that's a day. That's a day of charge. So when we put that together, the thing that I am really impressed with Samsung, I did peak at roughly 96 degrees Fahrenheit, but that was for a very short period of time. We're talking a couple minutes where it really did reach that temperature because the charge cycle was done so quickly. 34 minutes is shockingly fast because this battery is also almost 10% larger than the battery in the S24 Ultra. It's a 5400 milliamp hour battery, not a 5000. So when you put all those together, we are talking about a proprietary charge standard. VOOC is not broad. But I also have to point, like, what I have around my house are the old Warp 65 chargers, which charge roughly 15% slower, but that's still way faster than Samsung's 45 watt charging tech. And the Warp 65 also has support for 45 watt power delivery. So that's how we charge our laptops too. And those are $30 chargers. So you get the charger, you plug in the cable, and it can be to a phone or to a tablet or to a laptop or to headphones. Like, we just have 4 or 5 of those all around the house. And then I also have the Warp charger in my car. But I'll drive with navigation on for a couple hours in LA traffic. And I only plug in for like 5 minutes when I'm getting close to my destination, because that's really all I need. And then when I absolutely need a top off, it's like 10 minutes. That's it. That's really like the most that I need to kind of get through another day of use. So that's kind of the feeling, is like, I feel it's more cost efficient. I feel Samsung is caught up tremendously, because I know you were saying you actually arrived at a cooler overall charging temperature than what I hit. But I feel like you were almost twice as long charging your phone at an elevated battery temperature than I was. So we're kind of playing with different metrics. Is like, I got to a higher temperature, but you had a longer sustained charge window. We're probably coming out even.
But that was going to be my one thing of like, the reason why I don't like, although I love when brands like, you know, Red Magic, OnePlus come out with these really fast extreme chargers, but I have to get so many of them. Like you had mentioned, you had old Warp chargers that you're using. But if I didn't have Warp chargers, if it was my first OnePlus ever.
I want to say it's a 50 watt, which again is still faster than even Samsung's super fast.
I mean, by 5 watts, charging. We're talking about an old.
Hey, by an eyelash or by a mile, one wins.
But that was my thing, that there is like, oh yeah, that's a great technology, but there is no car charger version of that, was my thing. That was my thing, that like I remember, because I had a Warp car charger, and when I got my OnePlus Open, I was like, oh, let me see if there's a VOOC one, and I couldn't find one, because I was like, well, I want the fastest charge for it.
And they go by different names, especially after the sort of Oppo-ification. But when it comes to the practical nuts and bolts of this, it still charges insanely fast on a 65 watt charger. And so those $30 Warp 65s have become some of the best value in chargers because they still support it. It is exciting because when we talk about the difference between Samsung charging and OnePlus charging, Samsung charging is an additional cost on top of the price of the phone. You still have to buy extra accessories if you want fast charging around the home, but we did have a solution that I still feel is very much in line with what makes cable charging a superior, battery anxiety free kind of philosophy. This is why I wanted to do this video with you, though, is because I feel there's an educational point here, regardless of whether or not all of our viewers out there like wired or wireless. Stop charging your phone to full overnight. Don't put the wear and tear on the battery, especially in that last 20%. That's the hardest, the most stressful, or the most taxing part of your charge window. Even if you're not using, so Samsung has some great features, OnePlus has some great features. Definitely look into your battery settings, and you can put a limit on. But even if you're not doing that, just think, as long as I've got roughly like 80%, I don't need to push that last 20 and put the extra wear and tear on my battery. Now that we have phones that can run for 2 days of normal phone usage, wireless charging, there should be less pressure to always be thinking, if I set my phone down, it has to be on a pad. No, just put your phone down. It's okay. You don't have to go seeking the trickle charge just because that's how you used to use phones in the past. And
I myself will admit to having trouble with it. If I'm at like 40%, I'm like, my phone is dying. like my phone is dying. My wife makes fun of me, like, cause she'll be like at 23%, and I'm like, what are you doing? Your phone's like life support. Yeah, so it's a very psychological thing that I feel that we have to get out of. And again, I am admitting that I have to as well, because yeah, you can like it. There's no case scenario when, like, if you do have wired charging, right? And I do have lots of fast, like, I think most of my chargers around my home are like 65 watt direct cable, and then some are like 45 or something like that. But those are most of my chargers. So there's not a point at any point where I can't, if I am at 25% or 23% or whatever, I can't just plug in, and about half an hour later, any of my phones will be good enough for the day, right? So
yeah. We're not exaggerating. Like 15 minutes on a charger, 15 minutes on a OnePlus is like a day and a half of use if you hit that peak charge, like that, where it's really cranking that 80 watts. But even on a 45 watt charger, like 15 minutes plugged in should get you through at least a lunch to evening, like easy.
Two of the big things were like, oh, it's going to get hotter doing this way, it's going to get hotter doing this way. Both are not as hot as they used to be, even 1 year ago. Like that kind of improvement is really, honestly, like something that's not talked about because they can't show it off on a screen about like how, like, oh, it's so much better. But it definitely makes an impact.
Well, and we both took this as an opportunity to like actually use the temperature, the thermometer on our Pixel 8 Pros.
First time.
Woo woo.
But speaking of correct, Juan, thank you for coming on the channel. I honestly, I mean, and we all do this in good jest, that like we wanted to just kind of give our viewpoints and everything. Obviously, wired charging is a great aspect as well. I love wireless charging, have been a big proponent of it, but you know, it is just one thing, kind of just change the perception of it, I think, is one of the biggest things. Like, we did in these findings find that, oh, like I was shocked when the OnePlus only got that hot. I thought it was going to be well into the hundreds by charging it that quick at that kind of speed. So it's really awesome, just the differences we've seen.
And I gotta point it out. I mean, if we had done this test only on the S23 to the OnePlus 11, I think I would have had more ammunition. I cannot wrap my brain around Samsung improving wireless charging to the tune of 10 degrees at that peak temperature. When you told me that the S23 Ultra was breaking 100 degrees, that is really warm for a phone to be just charging. To see the S24 Ultra improve that significantly year over year, I think we definitely need to throw a big thumbs up to that kind of performance.
Definitely. Well, we're gonna have all the links to a lot of the products and information talked about. Also, Juan's video where, you know, I made substantially great points about wireless charging.
Yeah, I was very eloquent.
Riveting.
But riveting.
But go ahead and check out that video, please, guys, down below, and then tell us what you guys think. Tell us which points really gravitate towards you. Let us know in the comment section down below, and we'll have the link for both videos on each of our platforms and all of the tech that we use to get there. So
we got a lot of data to share.
Yes, definitely. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, please let both of us know. I have suggested, and just kind of a preview of like why I think Samsung might be the best Android. And of course, that would just be like, just, you know, a very interesting thing, I think, if you've ever watched Juan and see the fight that could cause.
Lots of yelling. You like yelling? Sure.
Yeah. Maybe I used to have a series called Tech Rant. Maybe that's what we'll make it. The Tech Rant.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes, correct.
But yes, thank you guys so much. If you want to see that, let us know. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Also, follow me on social media at YouTube Tech Guy. And check out some more great tech videos on your screen right now.